Alright, guys. I've decided that today I should take some time to explain to you why you have nothing at all in this whole world, nothing to fear, except fear itself, right? And some of this is repetitive. I'm just trying to hammer the point in, alright? Isaiah says this: there is one God, altogether there are no others. That's what all the books of the Bible say. None. There are no gods on the earth, nor in the sea, nor in the sky. There are no other gods. None. Anywhere. There are no other gods. There is only one God, and no one else. He creates both light and dark. He provides abundance and prosperity. He doesn't wish it. He tells you over and over again what his will is. But if you so desire it, he will allow you to wallow in misery all you want. So, who is there that you can sell your soul to for fame? Where are they? Where does the God that you sell your soul to, where does he live? If he's not a God, how could he claim your soul? You get what I'm saying? It's surrender. It's all about surrendering to fear. Alright, if there is one God and no other, how do you sell your soul? The saying, what does it benefit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul, is about receiving the prosperity from God because you start out fulfilling your purpose, and then you deviate from his plan for you. You have a destiny, you have a cause and a calling that will cause him to damn you. If you don't fulfill your purpose, right, and you become boastful and arrogant, or you think you've hit the pinnacle and you're good on your own, you don't need God anymore, your treasure will be removed as quickly as the only God gave them. You do well and give the glory to God so that he becomes seen by others. If you go look at the NBA, when they say, hey, how'd you do this? Who would you like to think that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me? All of them. Get the fear out of your heart. When someone succeeds and gives the credit to his maker, the God of love, truth, law, and wisdom, others become curious. I mean, I studied like crazy my entire life, and looking back, I see clearly I only did what God had already destined for me. My whole life looking back. Never even realizing the first step in building knowledge is just that. The want, the desire. But most just seek out the same pleasures day after day, never even realizing they are alive. They have a life. They breathe. They live on a rock, flying through space. Which, whatever. This reminds me, I have to do a video on aliens. That's going to be fun. Really fun. They are born into a world where they see the beauty all around them, and this world is full of wonders to be in awe of. They're just worried about drinking and looking cool for their friends when all this majesty surrounds them. I don't get it. Alright, so, what is a soul? Should be the first question. And that is the peace of God that exists within you, that allows you to live. Also, right, when you leave this world at your appointed time, whenever that is, you will meet your maker, right? Everyone is judged, period. Do you think that he's going to look at you and say, damn it, Fred, you sold my property? No, he's not. Not at all. The soul belongs to God, and only to God. You cannot sell something that isn't yours. You just can't do it. Fear makes people believe crazy things. Trust me. I escaped fear, and I live in love. But what happened, right, is when you don't have the truth, it creates confusion within you, and in that confusion, emotions like fear and anger raise up. So, who told you that you could sell your soul? Men? Men who wanted power over you, maybe? Don't do that, man. You're gonna sell your soul to Satan. No, no, Satan is fear. That's the selling of the soul that this world has already tricked you into. All right. Who told you you could sell your soul? If that's the case, right? Can I go buy up souls from a bunch of people and then sell them all to God? And I say God because if it were possible, I'd probably try it just to ensure that they make it to heaven. All right. I'd probably do it because my goal is to get everyone else to heaven. That's all I want. With the guidance of the Holy Spirit, of course. I can do nothing on my own. I do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's silly things that people believe when they're force-fed fear from a very young age. At this point, even children love horror movies, and their parents leave the TV on the news all day long and just let their kids take that in. And the news is a fear factory. That's all it's for. In fact, the whole TV is a delusion machine. All of it's fake. And I don't want to confuse anybody here, but you remember when deep fakes were in the news? And they said there's fake videos and whatnot. It's a deep fake. Anybody pointed any of those out? They said there's deep fakes coming, but has anyone said, hey, here's one? I don't think so. Anyone? Anywhere? Let me ask you this, right? Without using your TV or your cell phone or someone else's words, prove to me there's a coronavirus. My mother-in-law works in a nursing home. All staff, all residents tested. There's no coronavirus. There's no coronavirus. Anyway, prove to me there's a coronavirus. Can you do it? Don't quote numbers from the news. Name someone who has symptoms of a virus that is out of the ordinary for a seasonal flu. Additionally, name a virus that survives without a host. If what the coronavirus is supposed to be is actually a real thing, it's just not a virus. I don't mean to imply that CV is a common cold. That's not what I'm saying at all. I can prove that there is a common cold. Don't get emotional and try to talk about your closest relatives who died so that you'll gain sympathy and win an argument with pity, because that doesn't work with me. I don't have pity for anyone. You make your own decisions. Alright, take it a step further, and again, I don't mean to confuse anyone, but have you ever seen a politician in life? Prove to me that there is a man named Joe Biden. Prove to me that there is a man named Michael Jordan. My point here is that you don't know all that you think you do, and the majority of what you believe is mostly lies. Have you considered this? Have you ever seen an atom? It's a cult, the atomists. But whatever, we'll talk about that later. Have you seen an electron? Have you seen a star? Have you seen New York City? How did the three wise men follow the North Star to baby Jesus? And to this day, the North Star is in the same spot. How? I know about parallax and precession of the equinoxes. I know all that stuff. Whatever. Why do the stars in the sky circle around the North Star in a consistent circle? Which, when I make my alien video, I'll make a lot of this more clear. Alright, do you know that you are supposed to, from a young age, question reality? You know how you know that? Galatians chapter 4, verses 22 through 24, and this was a wake-up call for me years ago. The Apostle Paul, in his letters to the Galatians, he says, and I quote, verse 22, there it is written that Abraham had two sons, one of the slave girl and one of his freeborn wife. The son of the slave girl had been begotten in the course of nature, but the son of the free woman was the fruit of the promise. All this is an allegory. And it says that in the verse. All this is an allegory. The two women stand for the two covenants. Please, go read this yourself. You'll be blown away. You've just been lied to on every level. All truth is within the Bible. And majority of religious texts, the truth is there. Alright. My point is, maybe every single thing that you believe is wrong. I mean, in all honesty, Nikola Tesla was the greatest electrical engineer in the world, assuming that he was a real person. He surpassed Einstein, and he literally schooled Edison. But who was recorded in history? It wasn't the one that deserved it. Martin Luther King Jr. preached peace from the gospel and did it exactly as he should have. But what happened? The government gave the people Malcolm X and put the spotlight on him. And then they killed Martin Luther King Jr. You see the bait and switch? When they can't outshine the truth, they eliminate it. JFK is a good example here. What I'm trying to convey here is that maybe what you were taught you should forget. Start over from scratch, like I did. I was like, wow, everything I know is a lie. And I started from scratch and rebuilt my knowledge with blessings from God. I could have done it no other way. The ones who have been in power have been in power for a very long time. And they don't benefit from you realizing that you are in charge. The kingdom is within. So, it's not like you should expect them to tell you the truth. You should expect them to lead you off a cliff, because that's what they're going to do. They became corrupt. The power they hold over you is more precious to them than anything. For this reason, many people who upheld justice and righteousness, presumably the Kennedy family, Michael Jackson, the band Led Zeppelin, all of them, always going down on a plane. They always do. These are people who live peaceful lives and do not desire to hurt other people. I mean, Robert Kennedy was running for a Senate seat in New York when his plane went down. Who was he running against? Hillary Clinton. And she just loves power over you. What did she say? We came, we saw, he died. And laughed her ass off, dude. That's a sick, sick lady. Remember, power comes from God, and God alone. Nowhere else. Glory is all His. Always will be. And if you don't want to give it to Him, you'll lose what He's given you. God is a Trinity. Father, Son, Spirit. He is all there is. There is no other. There's no other gods. Alright, sorry. And everyone acts like they are so afraid of Satan, yet they think and act just like him. They think through fear. They act through fear. That's Satan. Alright, when someone succeeds, these people who act and think in a satanic manner, it's just hateful as hell. When someone else succeeds, they get filled with anger and envy just because someone else did good. They don't want to see anyone do good. They want everyone to fail, but they want all the good for themselves. That's pretty Satanly, if you ask me. God says put yourself last, as I do. Why? Because when I'm lesser, I'm under. And I don't desire to drag anyone, but I'll inspire you all I can and push you up from above. And I don't want to say you should look to me for answers, because you're wasting your time. I don't have them. All the answers are written within you, buried under fear. Anyway, right? Let me read you this chapter out of this book called The Final Quest by Rick Joyner. It's a really good book. It's like 61 pages. And this book is about the spiritual battle that we're in, right? And he notices the battle, right? And it's about despair and anger and envy, and those are the demons that ride on the back of Christians. But he gets to the mountain, right? And this is the mountain where God dwells. And of course, this is internal, but he's using the external to tell the story. All right. Wisdom led me down the mountain to the very lowest level, and this is after he had climbed the mountain and spoke with God. And then he went back into the battle. All right. Wisdom led me down the mountain to the very lowest level, which was named Salvation. You think that this is the lowest level, declared Wisdom, but this is the foundation of the whole mountain. In any journey, the first step is the most important and is usually the most difficult. Without salvation, there would be no mountain. I was appalled by the carnage on this level. Every soldier was badly wounded, but none of them were dead. Multitudes were barely clinging to the edge. Many seemed ready to fall off at any moment, but none did. Angels were everywhere, ministering to the soldiers with such great joy that I asked, why are they so happy? The angels have witnessed the courage that it took for these to hold on. They may not have gone any further, but neither did they give up. They will soon be healed, and they will behold the glory of the rest of the mountain and begin to climb. These will be the great warriors for the battle to come. But wouldn't they have been better off to climb with the rest of us? I protested, seeing their present condition. It would have been better for them, but not for you. By staying here, they made it easier for you to climb by keeping most of the enemy occupied. Very few from the higher levels ever reached out to help the others come to the mountain, but these did. Even when these were barely clinging to the mountain themselves, they would reach out to pull others up. In fact, most of the mighty warriors were led to the mountain by these faithful ones. These are no less heroes than those who made it to the top. They brought great joy to heaven by continually leading others to salvation. It was for this reason that all the angels in heaven wanted to come minister to them, but only the most honored were permitted. Again, I felt a terrible shame at my attitude toward these great saints. Many of us scorned them as we climbed to the higher levels. They had made many mistakes during the battle, but they had also displayed more of the shepherd's heart than the rest of us. The Lord would leave the 99 and go after the one who was lost. These had stayed in the place where they could still reach the lost, and they paid a dear price for it. I too wanted to help, but did not know where to start. Wisdom then said, "It is right for you to want to help, but you will help most by going on to what you have been called to do. These will all be healed and will quickly climb the mountain. They will join you again in battle. These are the fearless ones who will never retreat before the enemy." And I read this because it's really relevant, and I feel like it's me, you know? Let's go on. If you haven't read this book, you should. It'll be a real eye-opener for people. It's pretty blatant, and it will really make you see things in a way that fear won't let you. But again, I say, there is one God. The battle is for your mind. Those who have a hard heart won't be going on much longer anyway. Sun's off, 15 degrees, Schumann resonance is spiking. People are just losing their minds. They're so tense and upright that when the glory of the Lord arrives, their hearts will fail them for fear. Let it go. Do not live in fear. And based on my understanding, if you don't have full faith in the Lord, you're done for anyway. You were given so much. So many people flat out reject the truth. They depend on lab coats to give them truth rather than doing their own work. Check it out, right? Everybody listens to scientists to get the truth. Name 2 scientists that aren't Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Whatever. Name 2 scientists from your own state. Can you do it? No. No, you can't. You're depending on men to tell you lies. And you deserve such lies to believe in. Last thing. Alright, white and black have always been used as metaphors for good and bad, right and wrong. So check it out. I'm going to try to explain this to you and see if it's something that makes sense to you. The flood of Noah, right, was consciousness, understanding, love. 2 were in the field, 1 was taken, 1 was left. If this was a flood about water, it would have said, 2 were in the field, 2 were swept away. Water is a symbol of consciousness. Always has been. Watch the video for Everlong by the Foo Fighters. That's pretty revealing. Anyway, at the end of the 40 days, Noah opened a hatch that he made in the ark and released a raven. a black bird. It was a bad thought, and it flew around and around until the water receded, never returning. So, a week later, he sent out a dove, and it couldn't find any place to land because the water hadn't receded enough. So it returned to him, and putting out his hand, he caught the dove and drew it back to him inside the ark. You follow? A week later, he released the dove again, and now it returned with an olive branch. The olive branch is a symbol for peace, always has been. And so Noah waited a week and left the ark. Now, there's a lot of layers to this book, and trying to give just one layer doesn't ever really work out how you want it to, because you need complete understanding, not just one. It's not literary, but it is also literary. Alright. I don't know what the week is that Noah waited, or the week that he waited after the dove came back to leave the ark, but I know that later in Daniel, the book of Daniel, he tells us that he gives us a day for a year. So if he says 3 days, he means 3 years. And this is why the book is so great. It's a lifetime of mysteries to solve, and even if you spent your entire life studying and trying to understand, as I have, there will still be some valley you hadn't found, some mountain you didn't climb, some river you didn't cross. Just like life. Reflections, my friend. Reflections. And that was supposed to be the last thing, but this is actually the last thing. Here's something I think about, and I don't get it, but it's something to think on. Methuselah was a child of Enoch, and I have no idea who Methuselah is, but Enoch was a man who walked perfectly in the Lord's words, one of 2 prophets who God handpicked from the earth, alive, and took them to heaven, Enoch and Isaiah. And that's why I like the book of Isaiah so much. But God handpicked from earth, and what an honor that would be, you know. Maybe they're the 2 witnesses destined to return. I'd love to meet them. But Enoch, anyway, right? He walked in the ways of the Lord all his days. The Lord took him, plucked him. When the Lord does that, when you meet the Lord, he gives you a new name, right? Jacob was Israel. Isaiah became Aisha, or whatever it is. Enoch was renamed Metatron. Now here's where the mystery is for me. Metatron is the cube, the Islamic black cube that correlates to the 6-pointed star on top of the planet Saturn. Also, Metatron is the protector of children. I don't get it. So, and then what I don't understand is the external explanation of that based on Islam. They do the rings around it, which, that's Saturn. But what we were told about Saturn and it being the equivalent of the devil and whatnot is where I'm confused at. So, rather than me trying to understand this by thinking about it, I'll just pray and ask to know. And if it's right for me to know, I will be given. Those who walk the righteous path are given all they ask for. I know that I could never figure this out on my own. I have never figured anything out on my own. Ever. But with prayer and eyes to see, the Lord will reveal the truth of this mystery to me. If he does, I'll give you some of that truth, because in this way I can give the glory to God. That's what I make these videos for. This don't come from me. And others will see that and look to him too, earning all the more glory for the one who gave you life, the great Redeemer. Seek redemption. Seek the light. Seek the truth. Why is everyone so worried about changing the world when they can't even clean their room without help from their mom? For real. They protest, but don't change their own corrupt behavior. Believe it or not everything is gray. Some things are actually black and white. Find those things, live in the white. I rambled a lot in this, but I hope someone learned something. It really was. I was all over the place with this one, but I'm just trying to get this stuff out because every day time is shorter. Whatever though, guys. I want to add here, I went back to Michael's and I had to buy the Cry-Cut today, and then I went back to the Dollar Tree to buy parchment papers and stuff like that. And still, they put a new note on the door that says "Don't come in without a mask." So once again, I just kick the door open and announce my arrival and walk around strutting, and nothing. I went and I got all my stuff I needed, and I walked up to the line and nobody said shit. You are voluntarily, and I repeat, voluntarily killing yourself. God gave you breath. You value it or you lose it. I love you guys. I'll see you soon.